we're officially here. The scheduled release show of the Two versus Brother podcast. We're broadcasting it this year for the Fantasy Football Guru League. We have here together with
Oh, we
there goes
yeah,
Franklin.
we lost him for a second.
We lost
Oh,
Franklin. Let me see if he's back. Gentlemen, I see Franklin there now. I see his smile. Well, he's going in and out.
Yeah, he has terrible internet over there in the middle of nowhere.
Bro, did you cut off his internet, bro?
all right.
There
Can
we
you guys
go.
hear me?
There.
All right, I had to move.
I knew you were gonna cut off his internet, bro, Pedro.
Yeah, you know how I work.
All right, guys. As Franklin is getting ready to go, Pedro, are you gonna send out the link to the league? I
I'm
know
working.
that people are anticipating what the
I'm-
schedule is gonna be. We already started teasing some of the high-profile matchups. We have our commissioner ready to dissect it, ready to give it. Pedro in the producing table, and I'm gonna be running here. And we already 100 days away for the football season. We're reading today in ESPN, 100 days away to start. So ready to go. Pedro, um, go ahead, send the link.
I just sent it.
Why is your voice echoing, bro? Let's fix this, bro.
Wait, is it? Do you hear me? Do I have echo?
Let's see.
You have
Do
a
you
little
have
bit
an
of
echo
an-
going?
Do you hear me? Do you hear me?
Get the mic a little closer.
Do you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you. It's just there's a slight echo there.
Is it on you or is it on Alfredo?
No, you sound fine, Pedro. Alfredo, test it out again.
I've been talking and any echo or anything.
Okay.
No.
I don't hear
Okay.
anything.
No.
You sound good.
No.
Okay. All right, man. So I know there's some people who are anticipating for this. So let's start releasing. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start with the schedule. We're going to start with week 1. We already mentioned earlier, Ralphie will play against Alex. What are the other week 1 matchup? Pedro.
All righty.
Yes.
Boom.
Week 1 is here already, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
I'm going to read it to you. The Wise Men will face off versus Alfredo. The Fly will face Nick. Lokokis against Franklin. Alex will make his debut against Jonathan. Alex versus Ralphie. And then two good friends, Armando versus Pedro. That is our week 1 matchup. Franklin, what do you have to say?
All right. So first and foremost, to get started, I'm looking at this matchup right now. There's two Alexes. Not to get confused with the Sharks. So Alex, that is Steven's kid, is going up against Jonathan KMA. All right. This is a very interesting matchup. I mean, I'm looking at not a lot of smack talk happening the first week. I don't expect Pedro and Armando to be, talking smack to one another. I do see them holding hands throughout this whole week 1 matchup, wishing each other the best, being a boring matchup because Pedro just loves everything about Armando. So this is gonna be a boring matchup. We're gonna look at Steven and Alfredo, another butt kissing matchup. They're both gonna wish each other the best of luck, blah blah blah. Franklin Los Coquis, that might provide a little bit of excitement. Alex versus Jonathan, there's really not gonna be much smack talk there. I don't see any connection there. I don't see the chemistry. I will pick my matchup of the week, if that's okay with you, gentlemen.
What is your matchup of the week here, Franklin?
Danny versus Nick.
Oh.
And I will tell you why.
There's no love lost between them.
Yeah. From the moment Nick came into the Lopez Legacy podcast, he went after Danny. And as soon as he came into the chat, he's like, just know I'm not trading with Danny. So the animosity is there, gentlemen. I feel like this is chemistry. This is going to be a great matchup. I expect a lot of smack talk. I expect a lot of nerve hitting, and Steven might actually jump in because blood runs thicker than water. So Steven might be like, hey, you're going too hard on my kid. So we might have a 2-versus-1 going there. It's going to be interesting.
And of course, Danny thinks that he has a heck of a team. So, this will be his way of maybe telling the league that he is back after that 1 year hiatus that he had in the bottom, in the Clown Bowl. So this is his opportunity. And as we continue going on, we're going to see that this is an important game for Danny because he does need this victory because his schedule gets very, very hard as we go. Pedro, anything quick there you have to say?
Well, just to let Nick know, now that he is in the league, you will receive 101 offers from Danny for trades. So if you want, just mute his everything that has to do with Danny because you're gonna receive a bunch of those. and
Absolutely.
and of course, I do see that I am going against Armando, and you know what? Yes, he is my favorite Nicaraguan brother of all the people here. Unfortunately, I know Franklin would love to be the one, but it's not. Armando's my favorite, and I have to get him back on the podcast because I really do admire the way that he brings a different air about him and the things that he says on the podcast.
Wait a minute, Pedro. Why would I want to face you, bro? Your team sucks. I want to face the Shark. Give me the Shark. That's the guy. That's in the league.
What, just for you to lose again like you did in the playoffs, bro? Maybe you have a shot with me.
Man. Guys,
bro,
I mean,
oh boy,
bro, Aaron Jones. Oh my God, in the 12-man league, bro, you're screwed. You're screwed, bro.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Let's move on because I know I'm looking forward when Franklin and Pedro gets to face each other, but that'll be more further on. Let's go on to week number 2. As we continue, here is the matchup we already mentioned earlier. Steven versus Danny. Those two hate each other. And the best thing about this is the week before the last week of the playoffs. So it'll be week 2 and week 13. Playoff could be on the line. Somebody can screw each other. We have the brother versus brother matchup, Alfredo versus Pedro. We have Los Coquis with Nick. Franklin, this week, he faces off against the other Alex. And then Alex, the Shark versus Jonathan. That's a long time history there. And then Armando versus Ralphie. Franklin, looking at your start, you have, we can say, a very decent start. You have Los Coquis, in which, he hasn't been competitive. And then you have a newbie in Alex. What's your thought about your matchup?
Well, let's not take Coquis lightly. Remember, he has an excellent keeper situation. So, but looking at this matchup, when I saw week 2, I got excited when I said, "Oh, I get the Shark week 2." But then I forgot that this is not Alex the Shark. This is Alex from the bloodline of the Stenzos. So, this is Alex Lopez, not Alex Sanchez. I see this matchup of the week being Steven Danny. I mean, I think we can all agree that there's no love lost there, and I think that they're gonna be going at it. We're gonna start feeling the effects of this matchup probably Sunday night of week 1. They're both gonna be already looking forward to their matchup. We can already see the effects of the hurricane coming. This is going to be a good one. I expect to see a lot of videos, gentlemen. I expect to see a lot of gym. This is going to be a good one for the league, man. I mean, anytime we get a matchup like this, it's just get your popcorn ready because it's going to be a good one.
And they're going to be facing each other twice, week 2 and week 13. And I know week 13 is going to be fireworks because it'll be close to the playoff. And, I expect big fireworks. Talking about fireworks, man. Let's go to week number 3, and that's gonna be the huge week. We already have revealed some of the matchups already, and I know Danny's gonna want to hear this, so I want to make sure that we can put this, and hopefully he's here hearing this. So Pedro, Let's move on to week number 3. Week 3, and this is week 3 and the last week of the season. We already mentioned Franklin, your matchup against Alex. This is the matchup that you've been waiting for all year long, from the moment that Devontae Adams ran that 70-yard touchdown pass. You have Alex in week 3 and in week 14. Also, we have Armando and Jonathan. We already mentioned about those two friends. Alex versus Nick. Steven versus Los Coquis. Ralphie. Pedro, you have against the champ, against Ralphie. That's going to be a hard matchup. And then we have the two people that hate each other. And this is what Danny wanted it. He wanted a shot to face me twice for the first time ever. Alfredo versus Danny for a chance for the playoffs. Franklin, this one is hard to pick, but what would be your main event for this week?
Alfredo, I'll tell you this much, my friend. You know how in WrestleMania you have 2 main events, right? You have night 1 and then you have night 2. Everybody knows that night 2 is the main event. They're just trying to make extra money from people. So there can only be one main event. But man, let's just compare this to WrestleMania. There could be a co-main event. I do see you versus Danny. I would like myself and Alex to be the main matchup. It's just Alex doesn't give me a lot of smack talk.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm going to be seeing a lot of smack talk between you and Danny. And I can see the emotions running high. And I know you want this one so bad. Anytime you have Alfredo versus Danny, it's like comparing it to the University of Miami versus Florida State, Alabama versus Georgia. This is a big rivalry. I mean, you guys are adding on to your history. And I gotta give you the floor. This is your week. Week 3 is going to be the main matchup. You versus Danny.
I mean, honestly, this is not what I expected it with myself and Danny. We have never played twice. When we had to, redo the schedule, and when it came out like that, I mean, I was like, oh wow, I couldn't, believe it, that for the last week of the year, this is a matchup. It adds to our history. I mean, I would love to have the opportunity if I can knock him out of the playoff. It will be awesome. Maybe he has the same shot. I mean, it's just looking forward to it. I mean, there's enough words to say. Pedro, anything you need to... Oh, sorry, Franklin.
One last thing. I think this week 3, but I'm sorry, Pedro, I don't mean to cut you off. But week 3, expect to see a lot of smack talk because Steven and Los Coquis, they don't like one another. Well, Steven doesn't like... So I expect a lot of smack talk being done there. Also, I expect the brothers, the fleshly brothers, there's going to be a lot of smack talk there. Anytime you face your brother, there's always a rivalry there. So I feel week 3 is going to be the week where we're going to see the chat blow up.
Yeah, I expect that as well, man. And then definitely. That week 14, last week of the year, is probably going to be explosive. Even if we have people eliminated. I mean, this is an awesome week. Pedro.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree with you there, Franklin. It's looking to me like this is going to be an excellent week for smack talk because, as you said, Steven does not like Los Coquis, and Los Coquis, for some reason or another, does not really feel Steven that well. And of course, you have Alfredo and Danny, which the originator of the name The Fly is pretty much Alfredo with that name that he gave him. And to think about it, last year they only played each other once, and this time they're gonna get to play each other 2 times. And bro, you guys are gonna be going back and forth on podcasts. We're gonna invite him to the 2 versus Brother podcast so he can say his piece in front of YouTube and the whole world. But it's gonna be awesome. Alex and Nick, I don't know these guys very well, but if I know brothers the way that me and Alfredo are, there's going to be smack talk in front of each other, in private, and on the WhatsApp and on their own podcast, the Lopez Legacy podcast. So there's a lot to see there. And then, of course, Franklin, the shark, is like a very skittish shark. He doesn't really talk very much, only when he's obviously wrong about something. He'll talk and then he'll shut up. Never speak again. And that's pretty much what I think will probably happen this time. And then a matchup that I think that you guys are very low keying is the Armando versus Jonathan matchup. That they're good friends, and from the little bit that I've seen them talk to each other, and what I've spoken with Armando off camera, these two can butt heads. So see this as a big matchup, and I think, to be honest, Armando versus Jonathan may just be better than the Alfredo versus Danny. And then of course Ralphie and myself. Me and Ralphie don't really not like each other or whatever, but Alfredo, I'll do my best to avenge your loss.
For sure. Frankly, I know you were gonna say something.
I was just gonna add, man, the Lopez household that week they're gonna blow the roof off that house, because there's gonna be so much emotion. Steven's probably gonna have to separate Nick and Alex. Alex, I know, is the older one, but man, anytime you can get your hands on your brother and you can one up him, man, that's gonna be fireworks, man. Now, I see Pedro going up against Ralphie. I don't see a lot of smack talk there. I see Pedro falling 0-3 already.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough start, man, for him.
Yeah, just like you started 0-4, so it's okay.
Let's move on.
All I'm is like bounce back.
Let's move on to week 4. I know these two love to get. I can't wait when Franklin and Pedro will match up, but that'll be soon. Let's move on to week number 4. We have here. This is kind of simple week. We have Steven versus Alex. I face Los Coquis. Danny versus Pedro. Alex the Shark versus Nick. Armando versus Franklin. I would say here the battle of the nerds, like you guys like to call each other, and Ralphie versus Jonathan. Franklin, what's your week of the matchup here for you?
Oh, it's the battle of the nerds, without a doubt. If there's anybody that gets Armando going and talking, and Armando quitting, not being the Mr. Nice Guy and just throwing that out the window and just, cursing me out, it's me. That's one person that he cannot stand. I see this being the matchup of the week. Two nerds going at it. I need to get my revenge on Armando because I have yet to beat him. So I want this one so bad. And I see Armando also wanting this as bad as myself. As you guys can recall, Armando last year, he did something that was not too prudent. He jumped the gun and sold Chase Brown early to try to beat me.
Yep.
And so, with that being said, oh no, it wasn't Chase Brown. It was McConkey.
Yeah.
He sold McConkey to Pedro to try to beat me. So I got a rise out of him. So I know anytime that he hears my name, it strikes a nerve. So I think this is going to be the matchup of the week.
Yeah, definitely. Sure. That's why he beat you. So it's okay. I appreciate you, man.
Let's move on to week number 5. I think I agree with Franklin that's a good matchup. Let's move on now to week number 5. Again, this is another good week as well. I think we have here Steven versus Alex the Shark. Again, Alex is not someone who talks, but Steven does like to get a hold of Alex. Alfredo versus Alex, Steven's son. Danny versus Los Coquis, the two butt buddies. Armando versus Nick. Ralphie versus Franklin, and Jonathan versus Pedro. I mean, I'm going to say Pedro. I know Franklin is out there for a second. Ralphie versus Franklin. I mean, I think this is another week of the matchup. What do you have to say about that matchup, Ralphie and Franklin?
Well, listen, Ralphie is the reigning defending champion of the league. Something that Franklin hates is a guy that just came into the league and is a champion, knowing that Franklin hasn't even won a legitimate championship yet. So it makes perfect sense for this to be something that they would have to butt heads about. Maybe Ralphie doesn't talk very much, but Franklin is going to say a few words, and all Ralphie has to say is kiss the ring.
Franklin, what do you have to add to that?
Well, I can say the very same thing. He can kiss my ring. We can use that expression, Pedro. You, myself, and Rafi. The only one that cannot use that expression is Alfredo. But anyhow, that's neither near nor there. I'm looking at this matchup. I can't stand Rafi. I can't stand that guy. Like, if there's something Alfredo and I can agree on, is that we just can't stand him. Like, we agree on that.
Absolutely.
Newcomer winning the championship, and then Danny helping him out with that trade. Like, Danny loves to trade with everyone, but when it came to Ralphie, it's like he gave himself up to Ralphie. I don't understand that.
He sold himself to Ralphie, bro.
Bro, and it's like I just cannot stand how much butt kissing there is. I remember when we were kids, Ralphie used to be like, "Wow, Danny's so athletic. Just look at the way he runs." And I'm like, "Bro, what are we doing? Are we playing fantasy football or something?" Because that's something I would say about my fantasy player. Like, my man, look at him run. He's so good. Bro, he admired him like Danny was a fantasy player. But anyhow, I see this being the matchup of the week, man. You know what? I want to change. Alfredo versus Alex. It's just
it's not the Shark.
Oh, it's not the Shark.
It's not the Shark.
It's not the Shark.
Yeah.
It's Steven versus Alex the Shark.
Yeah. I got it confused again. Okay, so no, it's me versus Ralphie.
Yeah.
I beat Ralphie. It was a high-scoring game when we faced off. It was a really good game. I think it was decided by like less than 10 points. And then I remember when I beat Ralphie, I'm Ralphie's kryptonite. You know how Ralphie's your kryptonite, Alfredo? Well, his kryptonite is me. And when we faced off, he goes, "Oh, you got so lucky." I love it when people, whenever they lose, I love when they use that excuse. We've heard it one too many times. Yeah, he said, "Oh, you got lucky." And then the same thing, like you said, Alfredo to Ralphie in the finals, you got lucky, which I don't see how luck has anything to do. You got beat by almost 100 points. There is no luck.
Yeah.
He did beat me. It's been 4 months and I still can't get over it. But I will say this. I mean, everything went right for that guy. That's why when we play in week 8, I'll prove to him that it was a one-time charm. So,
wow. But Alfredo, can before we move on to week 6, explain to me, how did he get lucky? He whooped you by like 100 points, bro.
Because everything went right for him.
The pigeons came home to roost. That's what happened.
He scored 207 points, something that barely has been done. And then the team that was 14-1. Okay, I imagine. Okay, I could have lost. It was possible, but to score 106 points in the finals.
Alfredo, this wasn't a David Tyree helmet catch, bro. This was an ass whooping.
No,
it was, bro.
It was. He destroyed me, and I mean, there's nothing I can do. When Mike Evans scored that touchdown, when Bucky, I know it's not your day. When Bucky Irvin, when we're in Buffalo Wild Wings, got stopped at the 1-yard line, and then the play right after that, Baker Mayfield, which was his quarterback, threw it to Mike Evans. It's not your day, man. It's not your day. So, and T. Higgins outscored Jamar Chase. I mean, we could go all night with this, man.
And you know what really sickens me, Alfredo? This is where you and I have the same opinions about Ralphie. You were there, even though you knew you were probably driving on your way to Buffalo Wild Wings. It's like, man, I know I'm probably gonna lose, but because I'm dedicated to this league, I'm gonna be there for the guys. And the champion wasn't even there. The clown was there. The runner-up was there, but the champion was not there.
Yep. No dedication, no nothing. And then last year, he gave an excuse. I think he almost didn't even hardly show up for the draft. Let's see if he shows up this time.
Yeah.
I think he's not going to miss it, bro. Trust me. And one more thing about Ralphie, man. I remember I was having a conversation with Ralphie before, like trying to make some kind of trade happen for one of his guys. He ended up trading him to Danny. But it's funny because I was talking to him. He was like, "Oh no, I don't think there's anything we could do. It's like you don't want to give up this guy. I don't want to give up him." And I was like, you know what, man? Even if we don't get a trade going, your team is awesome, bro. But I think that your team will be so good that you may just win the whole thing. And I love it because Franklin's gonna be so mad. and he said, no, I know, bro. Franklin seems like the kind of guy that will be really pissed about me winning. And I'm like, yeah.
And look what happened.
And look,
I know, bro. I wanted Alfredo to win so bad, bro. It was a funeral that day at Buffalo Wild Wings. It was a funeral.
It sets a bad precedent. Someone who didn't care about the league ended up winning it and hardly did any moves, didn't do anything, and he just won.
No, and you know, every time a newcomer comes into the league, we try to defend that. No newcomers can win, and he came and it's like he took a dump on all of us, and he dominated your team, Alfredo. Like your 14-1 record, dude, and he just used you up like a rag doll, bro.
He sure did, man. He sure did.
Mm-hmm. Man.
Before I get more depressed, let's move on. Let's go to week 6, man. Let's go to our next matchup. And I think this was the matchup that you were probably thinking about. So week 6, we have Steven versus Armando. You have myself versus the Shark, the rematch of the semifinals, where I passed my semifinals goals, beat the Shark. We have Danny versus Alex, Steven, other son, Los Coquis versus Pedro, Ralph versus Nick, and then we have another kind of, let's say, rival of Franklin, an old one, but still his yin to his yang, Jonathan. Tic-tac-toe. What's your main event, Franklin?
Flip a coin between Alfredo versus Alex the Shark. Man, this is going to be a great week. Again, this is going to be like week 3 where we're going to see a lot of smack talking. Alfredo, you're going to be smack talking to Alex. Alex is going to be throwing some words back at you. Not as much smack talk, though, as KMA versus No Excuses.
I think that's the main event.
That's got to be the main event, man. And there's going to be so much smack talking. Again, I don't want to give it to, like I said, flip a coin, because you have rivalries here that resemble college football rivalries. And there's so much history with you beating Alex in the semis, getting over the hump. And then me versus Jonathan, me eliminating Jonathan out of the playoffs in 2 leagues, and me making shirts and gloating about it on YouTube. There's just so much history there. I mean, to the point that we almost got in a fight because, I mean, not just fantasy football, it's just Madden and everything. Jonathan has always been the guy that's always trying to one-up me. This is going to be a great week. Hey, let's not sleep on Steven versus Armando. That's going to be another great matchup, man.
Yep.
If there's anybody that can get Armando going besides me, I think it's Steven. I think Steven he's gonna try to get him going.
He's gonna pick on him, yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah. I see Danny versus Alex. That might be enough. Look, anytime it comes down to the Lopez clan, that's what I'm calling them, the Lopez clan, going up against a Vasquez, there's gonna be smack talk, man. So this is gonna be an eventful week.
For sure, man. I agree. I think this will be good. I think that Jonathan and Franklin matchup, there's a lot of history there, a lot of trash talk. The Shark, unfortunately, maybe by this time, week 6, he'll still be, I think it might even be the week that we're both in a cruise. I have to check when week 6 falls, but we're both going to be in a cruise in November, so early November. So maybe it'll be during this week. So let's see.
Oh man, make sure you're not on the island.
Yeah, let's move on to week number 7. Yeah, we're already halfway of the regular season. Let's see, Pedro, what we have here. And again, this is another solid week. I love it how this year we're already. You know what? How would you guys do it?
It's about time. It's about time that finally we get to this matchup. It's been a whole year I've been thinking about this moment. Oh, and by week 7, oh boy. What do you think about it, Mr. Franklin?
I think that by week 7, your season will be over. You will be like 1-6, or you're gonna be 1-6, bro. And again, this is gonna be your Super Bowl Pedro, this is gonna be your Super Bowl. You're not making the playoffs, not with that team. I can't wait to get my hands on you, bro. It's just gonna be so much smack talk, Pedro. Let me just say this: you got so lucky, bro. So lucky. 140 points. The most you scored all season, 140 points, and it just so happened to be against me, my team. But just know that you're going up against 3 elite keepers.
Oh, yeah.
Justin, CeeDee Lamb, and Jonathan Taylor. Get ready, my friend.
Definitely. Look,
talking about that week, Justin Jefferson will play against the Eagles defense. So that might be a tough matchup there. CeeDee Lamb will play against the Commanders.
And who's his quarterback, by the way? Who do we know who's going to be his quarterback, really?
JJ to JJ.
JJ to JJ.
All right.
And then CeeDee Lamb faces the Commanders defense. You know, it'll be a little bit better there. And then Jonathan Taylor will play against the Chargers defense.
If he's even on the field.
Full squad.
If he's even on the field. he takes 4 weeks off every year.
Pedro, my friend, I have a picture in my room of you. And every time I get frustrated at something in life, I grab a couple of darts, and I start throwing them at your face, bro. I've been eyeing this matchup. I cannot wait, bro. I'm going to rip you apart, bro.
Bro, frankly, I've been waiting for this moment for so long. It's funny because I go outside and I work out. I lift weights. And you know, for somebody like you that just runs and he runs to resolve his problems. He goes and he runs and he gets everything out. It's just him and the road. You, the road, and whatever you're wearing. What is it you wear? Adidas, Nikes, whatever it is that you wear. Adidas. All right. He wears his Adidas. Adidas put his earphones in and run. Not me, bro. I get in there and I pound. I go up and down, clinking and clanking.
Mm-hmm.
My mind on you, sir. And I am just getting bigger and bigger as we speak, just thinking about you. And the funny thing is I know that Jonathan Taylor is probably not going to be on the field. Who knows what was that, Freddie?
Why wouldn't he be in the field?
Because he takes 4 weeks off every year. Ever since he's got hurt, he's always takes 4 weeks off because he's always rehabbing his ankle. It's going to be a high ankle sprain. The man has a 60% chance every year to get hurt, and he's going to get hurt during this game. And I already know it. It's fine. And you know what? You have another guy that I adore. I like Justin Jefferson. He's a great player, and I'm not going to say anything bad about him. But how do we know that this whole JJ to JJ is going to happen? There are question marks on your team, sir. And, of course, we have – and to be honest, look, I compare you more to the Dallas Cowboys of fantasy football because you're in every main event, but you're never in the main event. So, you know, you might just be looking at not being in the playoffs, sir.
That's a great promo, Pedro. But here's my promo to you, bro. You say I'm a runner, right? And lifting weights is better than running. I'll tell you this much, you meathead. Runners have resistance. Guys that lift weights, they don't have resistance. By week 7, your resistance is going to be on the floor, bro. You're going to be already out. I'm going to take you out, bro. I'll make sure to be the one to hand the season-ending loss to you. And they'll be like, wow, Pedro's already out week 7. Amazing. Again. And all you're going to have to look forward to is your championship that you won back in 2013. And guess what? After I beat you, there's probably going to be another costume that you're going to wear, and you're going to appear in the podcast with another mask. Who knows what mask you're going to choose? You're gonna be like the Stardust of the league. So, Pedro, I will tell you this, bro. I got 3 elite players you got to worry about. Who do I gotta worry about? Who was the last player you picked up at the end of the season that you asked, hey, can I keep him? Can I keep him? Who was it?
I didn't ask anybody. I just took him.
Okay, who was it?
And Mr. Xavier Worthy.
aging running back in Minnesota that I gave you?
Mr. Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones. And
Or
whatever.
David Montgomery. Who knows?
Yeah, because you can't even use Jonathan Brooks because he won't be playing this season. I hope you enjoy him.
It's all good, Franklin. All I know is by that week 7 matchup, there's gonna be a poster that I'm gonna put you on. It's gonna be me dunking on you for that week. It's gonna, and I'm gonna have a video prepared just for you, sir, just for you.
Yeah, I don't.
And
think
with AI nowadays, oh man,
that's not.
this video is gonna be awesome.
Too bad this matchup wasn't, we didn't have 2 games with this, it's stuck in the middle of the year, but unfortunately we couldn't get that, but these 2, I think they will make it up for that week itself.
Aaron Jones.
Oh, man. Franklin, put it like this. If Justin Jefferson have a good game, then maybe Aaron Jones can have a good, maybe.
Can I ask something, Alfredo? Let me ask you something. Who's Aaron Jones' backup?
I don't know.
Pedro, you know who his backup is?
Yeah, didn't he just pick up a new guy?
Isn't the guy from San Francisco playing in Minnesota now?
Oh, the guy that couldn't cut it over there in San Francisco?
Derek Mason? Jordan Mason?
Jordan Mason. I expect Jordan Mason to take over that position by week 7, and Pedro's gonna be like, "Hey, anybody want anybody?"
Pedro, you did have him on your team. You could have kept him.
Aaron Jones, fire sale, everyone.
I think Jordan Mason has been passed around more than prison. You know what? Last year. So
bro, Jordan Mason in Minnesota looks great, bro. I see Jordan Mason taking that position, bro.
That is true. That is a good situation.
Let's see what happens.
Now he's gonna be like, man, I shouldn't keep Aaron Jones now.
Let's see what happens, guys. We still have months to go.
Well, other matchups there, you have Steven versus Ralphie. I face against Armando, Danny versus Alex, Lokokis versus the other Alex, and Jonathan versus Nick. I think the clear main event is Franklin versus Pedro. Let's move on to the next week. Let's continue dissecting. Franklin, I think he has had a lot of main events, and I think he deserves some break. He has a rough start through his schedule, so I think now this will be going through the easy part of his schedule, or at least in the trash talking after Pedro. So week 8, here we already mentioned what could be the potential main event, the rematch of last year's finals, myself against Ralphie. We'll have a lot of trash talk that week, a lot of bad memories. This is a very underrated matchup of 2 guys that don't like each other. Steven versus Jonathan. Steven, to this day, will keep on saying that Jonathan's 2 championships are rigged. They're going to face off each other. Danny versus Armando, Lokokis versus Alex the Shark, Alex versus Pedro, and Franklin versus Nick. Franklin, what is your main event?
I don't think this is a mystery here. Alfredo versus Ralphie. This is the one that you've been waiting for, man.
Yeah.
This is the one since the confetti was raining down on Ralphie. You've envisioned this matchup. This is the one you want, bro.
I was, for sure. Let's move on to the next one because I'll have a lot to say to Ralphie when we face off. Let's move on to week number. Where are we at? Week 9, no?
9, yeah.
Yep. So we're already going into the second half of the year, and as we start thinking about this, think about playoff. This is a very and I already see Franklin already smiling from what he sees here. He sees. Let's leave his matchup for last. We see Nick versus Pedro, the battle of the Alex, Lokokis, and Armando. Danny versus Ralphie, the 2 lovers there. I wonder if somebody will lose for the other. I face off Jonathan, and then the battle of the podcast, Steven versus Franklin. What do you have to say about that, Franklin?
I'm not afraid to talk smack to Steven. I respect Steven as a player. He does what he needs to do to win, even if that means
Lying, cheating, and stealing.
Yeah. Even if that means sacrificing the proverbial lamb, Steven will do it. And he did it with Danny, and he knew that was going to ruin his relationship because these guys used to be, good buddies. And Steven and I mean, we've had great matchups. This is history. I mean, I can recall when Jameis Winston ran back a couple yards, he took the lead on me.
Yep.
Jameis Winston ran back and he lost the lead. And I've never seen something like that happen in fantasy football. And I remember that night, Steven was already celebrating. And then I turned off my phone, but then the chat still kept blowing up. And all I see was, wow, no way. And then Steven just being, please miss the field goal, please miss the field goal. And they made it to win the game. Him and I have talked a lot of smack, man. I think this is going to be a great matchup. But also, I think Alfredo versus Jonathan is going to be a great matchup. I got to give it to Alfredo versus Jonathan, man.
I don't know. Jonathan, I think, might take a step back this year. His keeper situation is not good. So unless he does something drastic, but I mean, I think he might take. I never can count on Jonathan. Jonathan, he is a great player, but I think he might take a step back. I mean, I could be wrong.
I wouldn't be surprised if Nick talks crap about Pedro. Like I see Nick being one of those talkers, and I could see him already, poking holes at Pedro. So like I see that matchup also. Pedro, you're used to being the good guy, but Nick has, I think, the personality of his dad, and I think that he will push your buttons. And
okay. I'm the good guy in a lot of things, but I have the personality of the bad guy. That's why I'm so good, because I know how the good guys act. So it's okay. You've seen it firsthand, Franklin. I can put on the sunglasses and change character.
You can, bro, but you're a good guy, bro. You let me trade rape you.
Unfortunately, by that time, I think Pedro could be already thinking of
eliminated
himself in the clown bowl. So probably there might not be any fireworks on that matchup. So let's continue on to week 11. As you know, the stretch run. I actually was saying that Franklin was on his dead time, but I mean, looking at his matchups, I mean, it is impressive. Look at this matchup for week 10, and here there's no love loss between us. You have myself versus Franklin. I know Franklin for the last couple of years have been wanting to get payback. I have beat him in the worst ways, in the most luckiest way. When I had when I didn't play with half of my team. When I remember a few years ago, when I had all my players in a bye, last year did not play with my defense. So I mean, I know you're gonna be licking your chops. It's week 10, close to the playoffs. What do you have for me, Franklin?
I mean, Alfredo, you made a whole podcast just dedicated to beating me in week 3. I won't forget this. I was in Food Lion purchasing food. You even made the damn picture. You put a picture of me as your YouTube poster. Come celebrate with us week 3, and you were celebrating as the Buffalo Bills kept piling it on. It wasn't even halftime. I think they had 3 touchdowns, and then you kept pushing my buttons and saying, "Oh, you left the league. You left your own league. Yeah, that shows how much you care about your league and this and that." Alfredo, I just needed you to be next to me so I could punch you, bro. But you weren't, bro. You weren't. And thank goodness that you were 8 hours away from me, because if you were literally an hour away, I would make the trip, bro. I would literally make the trip and egg your house.
I bet you would.
And I was really upset. I think that was one of my lowest points last season because I was 0-3. But I just saw it in your face, bro. You were so happy, bro. And Pedro was another one that was happy. And then I'm like, oh, great. When the brothers are getting along and they're just basically ganging up on me. And I felt like at that point I was being ganged up by the Rhodes brothers.
We thought it was I thought it was going to be over for you, because remember, I sent you to 0-3 or 0-4. And
0-3, yeah. I mean, 0-4
0-3.
was a worse feeling, but 0-3 was pretty bad because I really wanted this matchup, man. But what irks me is that every time I play you, something happens with my players. One of my players gets hurt, something strange happens. But I'll tell you what, Alfredo, something of great significance happened to me, and it's happened to me twice. Earlier this year, as I was in my car, I saw a pigeon on the road.
Nah, I remember
And
that.
the pigeon wouldn't move, bro. It would not move. But yeah, that I thought it was gonna move, and no, I ran over it, bro. Feathers and everything were flying all over, bro. And to me, that symbolized the end of the pigeons. Like the pigeons no longer have control over you. And then I ran over an armadillo. And I'm like, what's going on? What does this signify? And I don't know. I don't know what it signifies, Alfredo. Maybe it means calamity for me this season against you. I don't know. Maybe me killing that pigeon was the worst thing that could have happened. Maybe that means I'll be missing the playoffs for as much as Pedro has been missing the playoffs. I don't know. But I took it as a good sign. It's going to be a great matchup. I expect a lot of trash talking.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I expect a
Especially
lot of trash talking in that matchup.
as we get closer to the playoffs. I think this will be a matchup that we'll still be battling, for playoff spots, and just to have each other like that. I mean, I think there'll be for sure a lot of fireworks. Other matchups, Daddy versus his son Nick, Steven versus Nick, so that'll be interesting there. Danny versus Jonathan, Los Coquis and Ralphie, Alex versus Armando, and then the Shark versus Pedro. I think all the fireworks is going dedicated to Alfredo and Franklin. Let's move
Yeah.
on to week 11. So again, stretch run and guys, as you see this matchup, I want you to focus on Franklin. Look at the end that Franklin has to face. Week 9, he faces Pedro. Week 10, he faces me. Let me see. Yeah. And then week 11, look who Franklin has to face. The one guy that been wanting to face him. Actually, sorry, Franklin, you had Steven week 9. You faced me week 10, and now you face Danny. You had Pedro in week 7. Um,
So
so
losses since week 7. That's fine.
yeah, week 7. He has a killer final stretch there. And you have Nick there between. So Franklin, you have Danny here. So what do you have to say?
Man, I hate being the center of attention. Who am I kidding? I love it. I love it. Give me Danny, bro. This is my gauntlet. My gauntlet. And Danny is, whenever you have a gauntlet, we all have gauntlets.
Yeah.
Your gauntlet is either in the beginning, in the middle, or at the end.
Yep.
Sooner or later, we all are going to go through it. And I just so happen to go through this gauntlet at the end of the season. The most dangerous time. Gentlemen, we are talking about 7 seeds will make the playoffs. Who knows if this game might be for the 7th seed? Who knows? There's a lot that's going to be on the line. And
Yep.
man, anytime that I can get my hands on Danny, oh man, it's just awesome. I've looked back the last 2 seasons, and we've each split a piece. He beats me once, I beat him once. So it's 2-2 right now.
Yep.
Yes, he owns me in the playoffs. He beat me once. Congratulations. But in the regular season, it is split 2-2. It's not gonna be an easy game. But now that we're looking at Danny, man, Danny is so sure of his team because he has BTJ. He is so sure that BTJ is gonna be the next Justin Jefferson. But man, if I was him, I'd be worried because he has competition now.
He does. He for sure does. Travis Hunter, let me tell you, that guy is a beast.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about using him more as a receiver than a corner. I'd be super worried if I was him. And then he talks about Gianti. But hey, smart guy, you're gonna have Gianti and you're gonna have Bowers. So his team is gonna be predicated on the Raiders doing good or not. If the Raiders have a bad game, he's gonna suffer.
Yep.
And that's the thing that Danny doesn't realize, that when you put all your eggs in one basket, you're jeopardizing your week, man. And the Raiders are not. Who's your quarterback?
Geno Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I have a number here. I have some numbers here.
Please.
Geno Smith ranked 25th when throwing to tight ends.
Wow.
In his last 3 years, Seattle has never been a team with tight ends. 25th. So do you think that's going to continue? That's going to get better with Bowers? I don't think so.
Geno Smith loves to throw deep balls.
Yeah.
He loves, like we saw when he was in Seattle, right?
Yeah.
He would throw deep balls to JSN. Even Metcalf was, will get in the action. But I never saw him having like a really good connection with the tight end there.
Yeah, no,
so
I don't think so. Jacoby Myers, I think, will do very good with Geno Smith.
Yeah,
so,
Jacoby Myers is the sleeper, man. I also think he's gonna do good. But like I think that him going Gianti, he's risking it. And look, put it like this: if I drop Jonathan Taylor, I can guarantee you, Danny will go Jonathan Taylor over Gianti. He's over. Yeah. I think so. You Gianti, yeah, he's good, but we don't know how he's gonna work in that offense. That's the thing. We don't know. Like we see that he's good athletically, but how does he really look in that offense?
Yep. He did say the 1-1 is on the block, so he's ready to trade it if somebody wants to get up there and get it. As for Jonathan Taylor, him picking up Jonathan Taylor 1-1, I don't think so, because Danny knows just as well as anybody else knows that Jonathan Taylor takes 4 or 5 weeks off every year. So it's something that you have to keep in mind when you're keeping Jonathan Taylor.
You keep saying that, bro.
He's done it the last 3 years. So what do you want me to tell you? He's going to take less time off?
And let me ask you something. What happened with Saquon Barkley when people were afraid to pick him up last season? Because the same thing they're saying about Barkley. He's always getting hurt. The year I had him, he sucked. He got hurt. The year you had him, Pedro, he got hurt. Mm-hmm. And then he had the season he had last year. The same thing could happen to Jonathan Taylor. Gentlemen, fantasy football, we don't know who's going to have a good season. There's players that have been hurt back-to-back years, and then the third year they explode like Saquon Barkley did. Like, we don't know.
Well, the thing is that something changed. There was a change. The Giants suck. That was the problem. And as we've seen in all the stuff that have been coming out lately, the Giants were focusing on the wrong thing. They had a good running back. They were focusing on the bad quarterback that they had. So it ended up working out for the Eagles. But at the end of the day, the reason why that happened is because there was a change. There is no change in Indianapolis. So Jonathan Taylor is going to continue doing the same thing he's always done. They're going to rely on him to run the ball. He's going to get hurt. He's going to come back and maybe towards the end of the season have a good run, which is what he always does.
He missed 4 games, right?
Last year he missed 4 games. The year before he missed 4 games in all of the OTAs.
Now put this into perspective. He missed 4 games and he still churned out 1,400 yards for the season.
Oh yeah, he's good.
Why wouldn't you want?
Because if you're picking him, he's going to be your second pick, I believe, or third pick. He's your keeper for the second or the third.
It may be Chase Brown, Pedro. I may just be,
No, I'm just telling you. Look, I don't care what you do. I'm going to beat you anyways. So if you keep him or not, it doesn't matter. I'm just telling you, if you're going to keep Jonathan Taylor, whoever has Jonathan Taylor on his team knows that he's going to be gone for 4 weeks of the year. And is it going to be the 4 weeks that you need him most? Maybe.
I mean, it all depends on the team, man. I mean, the quarterback, I think, is a big difference in that team, man. And that's the problem with Jonathan Taylor, the questions that could surround him.
Yeah. Is the running quarterback going to be an issue? Is he going to be the one throwing? Is the guy that can't throw the ball going to be throwing the ball?
You saw how hot Jonathan got towards the end. I expect to see that.
He did well. Hey, listen, I told you. Remember we were talking about it? And I told you, Jonathan Taylor, look at his schedule at the end of the year. He's going to do very well in the playoffs.
But I feel like him and his quarterback finally started connecting. And you saw that towards the end of the season where he was churning out big yards, bro. And I think that this year that's going to continue. And yes, I love Jonathan Taylor. I'm in love with Jonathan Taylor. I want the world to know that I love Jonathan Taylor. And most likely I'm going to keep him. And I'm going to use him against.
Of course, we're going to keep him. Yeah.
And it's going to hurt you so much when he goes off for 150 yards against you with 2 touchdowns. And you're going to say to yourself, oh my God, that could have been me. And I let him go for Jonathan Brooks.
If he's on the
What's
I
field.
was asking, what was the package again for Jonathan Taylor?
Sorry?
What was the package for Jonathan Taylor, the trade?
I don't even remember.
It was
that.
Jonathan Brooks. It was Jonathan Brooks, Chris Godwin.
Uh-huh.
So Leon Medical Center right there. And then I threw him Aaron Jones. So he's basically getting Aaron Jones for Jonathan Taylor.
It's okay, Franklin. We all know that.
It's okay.
We all know that you started winning when I started trading with you. It's okay.
I know. That's why I'm telling you, you can't be the heel, Pedro. You're the baby face because you help people. You help me. I'm the heel because I took away your player. I took away your heart. I took away your soul.
I'll tell you
That's
this:
where
Pedro
I'm
did make
at.
some good trades with the Ladman Conkey trade. I mean, that look at the projections. They have him in the second round. Who would have?
That's because I make people make bad
Bad decisions.
Oh yeah,
bad decisions. Yeah, I make them make bad decisions. And Armando, he got scared when he heard my footsteps, and he's like, "Oh no, I gotta trade real fast." Here, Pedro, have Ladd McConkey. For I don't even know who he got.
Kareem Hunt.
It was Ladd McConkey, and I gave him the Green Bay quarterback for it was Ladd McConkey and somebody. I don't remember the trade. It was the Kansas City running back. Kareem Hunt. Yeah.
Right. And the same thing happened to you. You heard my footsteps and you went to Cookies. Here, Cookies, have Josh Jacobs. Give me a bunch of scrubs.
I beat you anyways, didn't I?
Huh?
I beat you anyways, didn't I?
You
With the scrubs.
I mean,
Yeah,
frankly, you could have, that matchup. You could have probably, if it wasn't for that matchup, you probably would have had the bye week and you would have avoided Alex that matchup. So
no, there was no way I would have gotten the bye week.
You wouldn't, right?
No. I was too far behind.
You're too far? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on to week 12. And this is the redo of the matchup. Steven versus Alfredo. Again, this is the playoff stretch. We already talked about it. Alex versus Ralphie. I think these two will probably maybe battle off for the bye week. Los Cookies and Franklin. I mean, I know there's no love lost there. Danny versus Nick. I think Nick would love to be the one to eliminate Danny. And then Pedro, let's go to week 13. Armando versus Pedro.
Okay, let's move it on here.
Again, these are the repeats.
This is gonna
Steven
be
versus
really
Danny, brother versus brother. We didn't talk much about the matchup. Pedro, you and I, we face off here. You have a chance of, potentially, upsetting me and maybe, cause me a playoff berth.
Listen, Alfredo, it doesn't matter where I meet you. I'm always a good bet to beat you. Now, I did, now that Franklin jogged my memory a little bit. I've been doing a lot of like construction here in my house, fixing stuff up, and I cut down a tree. That had a palm tree that had in the backyard that was like, it was bad. It was lightning struck that palm tree and it was just standing there. And over time, it was just dilapidated. It smelled. Everything was it was dark black. And for a palm tree to be black, there's something going on there. But you know what the funny thing is?
What?
I had to get perspective. I had to walk away because this palm tree is pretty big. I walked away pretty far in front of my house, and I looked in that palm tree, and guess what I saw?
Pigeon.
I saw a nest of pigeons. This is where they've been. This is why everything's been going on with my team, is because you have set a nesting pigeon farm here in my house over there with the palm tree. But guess what, sir? I cut that tree down. There are no more pigeons.
Pedro, I mean, I think you're going to need a lot more than just trees and pigeons. I mean, I don't know, man.
You're in it, bro. You're deep in it, Pedro, man.
Pedro, I think by that time you'll be planning already for your clown bowl.
Pedro, tú sabes cuando tú la cagaste, bro, when you gave Josh Jacobs away, bro. Josh Jacobs next year is going to be an elite player, bro. And you gave him away,
bro. Like, look, Josh Jacobs is good. Like, when I gave him up, we knew that he was, you know, he was good, but they didn't turn it on yet. And I regret selling him because Josh Jacobs turned out to be really good. He was the player I thought he was going to be. Just like the player that you thought he was going to be, but he wasn't producing for you. Because he kept giving you like 8-point games, 7-point games. And then like the first time he gave 20 points was to me, the first time. And then I sold him off thinking, oh, this must be it. And then he ended up being a lot better. I think it was Kokis that said it, that if I wouldn't have traded Josh Jacobs away, that I would have probably won more games than I did. I would have won the majority of the games after that. So it's the guy who I traded him to was telling me that I shouldn't have traded him because I would have won pretty much a whole bunch of games if it wasn't for that. So I understand.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that if you would have had Josh Jacobs for the Clown Bowl, he would have saved you from being the clown.
No, I don't think I would have, bro. If I would have had Josh Jacobs, I don't even think I would have been in the Clown Bowl. I would have either been the last seed in the playoffs, or I would have been like the one right before. I think it was the 7th seed, and I would have probably ended up facing because Danny was the 7th, so I would have been the 7th. So I would have ended up facing somebody like Kokis or Steven, and instead of facing Danny, because that's the reason I ended up being the clown, because I ended up facing Danny when he blew up. And I blew. I was like 145 points or something like that. But I would have beat anybody else but Danny that day.
Yep, absolutely, man. That's the shame, man.
It was meant to be, gentlemen. I was meant to.
It was not. It was not. You just made bad decisions.
I don't think this time, if I face you, Pedro, at this time, I think the eulogy will already be done for you. I normally would be the one doing the eulogy for you, but I think the eulogy will be done. I think, like last year I was really worried of facing you at the end because something could have happened, but
nothing happened.
It was a straight blowout.
It's all good, gentlemen. I will this year. It looks to be different. I have young talent on my team.
Look, it's sad, but the reality is that when I first opened up the schedule, the first thing that I went looking for is, do I get Pedro twice? You know how many league members probably did the same thing? They looked at you and said, let me see if I get Pedro twice. If I strike the lotto. So prove us wrong, bro. Prove us wrong.
It's gonna be done. Trust me. You guys are laughing now, but when my prophecy comes to light, I'm sacrificed as the clown in the beginning of the year. But you know what? I'm gonna change my name to the clown. So at the end of the year, when I win everything, the clown beat everybody.
I hope so, bro. I hope so. For your
false prophet, the false prophet here.
For your own sake. Let's go on to the last week. I mean, yeah, we already talked about this final week so many times, but again, also
Alfredo, I do want to say something. The matchup of the week around the last 2 to 3 weeks of the season could change depending on playoff scenarios. Because right now we're looking at matchups that might not intrigue us. For example, like Los Coquis versus Nick. But who knows? Maybe, this is going to be a matchup that may decide who gets that last playoff spot.
Yep.
So it depends on the playoff scenario. So these matchups are contingent to change depending on how, the seeding is.
Yep. Absolutely, bro. Yep. I mean, it could change. I mean, who knows? Los Coquis, Nick, it could be any matchup could mean, a lot. So, yeah, man.
Yeah. Yep.
Week 14.
And then obviously we already dissected the last week already. But yeah, as well. I mean, this is going to be a high profile. Every matchup there, I think, will mean something. And Ralphie versus Pedro, who knows what could happen. I mean, excellent week. And that's it. That is our release schedule. Franklin, any final words in reference to the schedule? I know you wanted to talk about something else, but in reference to the schedule, anything that stood out for you?
No.
Who do you see towards the end? that is gonna face a hard time? What do you have?
I mean, I have myself in that gauntlet. Um, it's gonna be a really hard stretch, but Danny as well. I see Danny going through a couple of tough games. Um, and really, man, it's gonna be tough for everyone. This is why this is the Guru League. There is no such thing as an easy matchup. I mean, even when a matchup seems winnable, it may not be. Like, look, me versus Pedro. I thought I had him. I was so sure I had him, and he beat me. Nothing is guaranteed because we have excellent teams.
Yep. Yep.
It's anybody's game, man. I'm excited. And again, gentlemen, there's only one seed that gets the bye week. That's it. Number one seed, and that everybody else is gonna play in that first round.
That's the new change this year that we have had.
Yeah. So I know that Danny didn't like it, but I like the idea of there being noise in the first round of the playoffs. Usually when it's the first round, it's a little bit quiet because there's only 4 teams playing. But now we're gonna have 6 teams playing. So it's gonna be interesting, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. It's gonna be monster.
Yeah.
Usually, sometimes when you have teams with a bye, the number one seed, has nothing to play for, because he'll have the bye week, set. Now, he's probably gonna have to be forced to work more. It'll be harder, trust me.
And this is gonna eliminate too. The reason why I also did this is gonna eliminate any negotiations being done in the back end. Hey, I get the 1, you get the 2. Like, Steven and Danny plotted,
Yep.
a while back. Hey, if we draw, we both have an opportunity to make the bye week. That's gonna eliminate that. There's only gonna be one spot.
Yep.
And you're only gonna be looking out for yourself. So.
Oh yeah, great idea with this new playoff system.
Yeah.
Hey, Franklin. So Pedro, if you want, you can take off the whole schedule thing. Franklin, I know you wanted to add something before we go about the keepers. I know we're 2 months away.
Yeah, with the keeper situation, like I said, you get 3 keepers, you can trade, you could like how I did with Steven. You can commit. Once you trade, you're committing to that player. So like I'm already committing to CeeDee Lamb, he's committing to Jahmyr Gibbs. Nobody else has made a trade yet, but just know that by you making a trade, you're already committing to that player as your keeper. The other thing I was gonna say, I mean, like we all came up with our keepers. Like right now, we're saying, "Oh yeah, I'm keeping this and this and this player," but you won't really know until 2 weeks before the season starts. Once you submit the form 2 weeks before the season starts, this is who I'm keeping. We're gonna have a Zoom meeting. We're all gonna, connect, and we're gonna say, "This is the 3 players that I'm keeping." If something happens, 2 weeks before, then if the league agrees to it, I think you could change. I feel like you should be able to change if a player gets hurt. Because
after the 2 weeks?
Yeah. Now, some people don't like that idea because people already like to strategize on who the free agents are going to be by then. 2 weeks before, I already know who's going to be available, so I'm strategizing. So if the league wants to keep it, like if you commit to that player 2 weeks before and that player gets hurt, you're stuck. Oh, yeah. Well, you committed. I'm fine with that. But if the league doesn't like that, then we could change it. But as of right now, the way the rule is once you commit to the player 2 weeks before, that's the deadline, then that's it. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention, trade rights. When you're trading right now at this moment, like you, Alfredo, for example, could trade Chuba Huba, right, to your brother. You're trading the trade rights to your brother to keep Chuba Huba. But at the end, it's at his discretion whether or not he wants to keep Chuba Huba. He doesn't have to. You're trading away your rights to keep him.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing. 2 weeks before, that's when it becomes official. If your brother wants to keep Chuba Huba and then Chuba Huba gets hurt, then that's it. That's how the trading works right now. So you could trade whatever players in your roster. You're trading away the trade rights. So right now, if Pedro offers me something, hey, are you still interested in Chris Godwin? And I am, Pedro. We can work something out, I can give you something.
This guy. You're not trading anymore, sir.
How about, wouldn't you be interested of trading Justin Jefferson for Jamar Chase and you free up a first round pick?
But you drafted Jamar Chase
in the first.
I know, but if I trade him,
yeah.
and you're trading away Justin Jefferson.
No, but then I have to replace Jamar Chase in the first round. You drafted him in the first round.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Like if you the only player that I'd be interested in trading with you is Chuba Hubbard.
Okay.
But like again, you're just trading away the rights to own him. You don't own him anymore. Now the other thing I was gonna say is the clown contendership. I have two people that I think are gonna contend to be the clown.
There goes Danny.
Two people that I see being the clown. One is no surprise, and that is Pedro. Pedro, you have once again just proven how much you suck at this game, bro. I believe you will be contending to be the clown this year again. So do not throw away that clown suit. Do not throw it away.
Oh boy!
Wow.
The other person that I see contending for the clown, and this is gonna come as a bit of a shocker to you guys, but is the one person that keeps chirping away, and I don't know if he's chatting because I'm not looking at the chat. Danny, I believe.
What?
Yes, bro. I'm telling you right now, he's right now trying to sell his team like they're gonna be like contenders. But bro, I'm telling you, the strategy that he's doing is gonna come and bite him in the butt, bro. Watch.
You think I'm actually gonna send Danny to the Clown Bowl by me beating him in the last week?
I don't know who's gonna send him to the Clown Bowl, but his team
or Steven, because he faces one of us.
Yeah, bro. And the thing is that he has. I get he has Brock Bowers, but I don't see Brock Bowers being the guy that he was this year. Like I really don't.
Look at Sam Laporta. Everybody was hyping Sam Laporta, and he started slow.
Yeah, like I don't see that happening with Bowers. Like I don't see him repeating that this year. That's what I personally think. Maybe because I don't like the fly, but we'll see what happens.
Danny in the Clown Bowl.
Danny in the Clown Bowl.
He tanked.
Uh-huh.
He tanked to go back to the Clown Bowl because he traded his team away for the future. Remember, that was his word.
Yeah, like I don't understand. I get Tyreek Hill is getting older, but I think Tyreek Hill is gonna have a good season this year. Like I really do, bro. Like I think last year it was a bit of the quarterback injury, and then he was hurt. But I think Tyreek Hill is gonna have a good season. I don't think he's gonna have like a 1,800-yard season, but I think he's gonna have like a pretty good season, maybe a 1,400-yard season. That's what I'm projecting.
Yep. I can't believe
But man, Pedro, I see you repeating for the clown bowl. Don't get rid of the clown costume, bro.
Wow.
No, bro. Trust me. I don't expect to be the clown 2 years in a row, bro. Trust me. I think that there are going to be teams. This is the things that happen every year. Every year we think that there's going to be behemoths, and there's going to be guys that are not going to be as good. And in the beginning, it was where you were able to pick your players. Obviously, if you were the first 2 or 3, 4 picks, you get to pick the best of those 4 picks in the first round when you draft. So, and I think last year it was kind of like that. Alfredo, where was that you got Chase at number 3?
At number 3.
So you got the number 1 player in all of fantasy football at number 3. So, and then Franklin, you got Justin Jefferson where? The number 2?
No.
Number 7.
Number 7.
Number 7.
Number 6.
Okay, so
number six, yeah.
Number 6, yeah, I figured you were a little bit closer. So, and then I ended up getting Garrett Wilson at the number 10. So now it's different because now we're able to pick guys that we're able to keep guys. So you lose the ability to pick in that round. So,
yeah, but again, you're the people that you're gonna have available. What pick you have? Number 4?
Well, no, I have all my picks up until
in the first round, you have Danny goes first, then Los Coquis, then Steven, and then you, right?
Well, depending on what happens, because we don't know what everybody else is doing. So
Steven freed up his number one spot, so he's gonna be able to pick in the number one.
Yeah, no, you'll have number 4, Pedro. So
I have number 4. That's
Now-
fine. That's fine because I get to pick again if it right after. It doesn't matter.
And I get it, Pedro. You have the first rounds available, but at the same time, you have to realize that all the elite players are taken. What's really going to be left is going to be middle of the pack players, dude. And even I myself, I'm going to be able to get middle of the pack players. And I don't see, like, to me, in a 12-man league, you need elite players, bro. If you don't have elite players in a 12-man league, it's going to be tough to win it with that. I mean, unless you strike gold. If you hit, the lotto with a player, that could happen. I'm not saying that that's not going to happen, but
look at Ralphie, bro. Ralphie had a perfect draft. Everybody he barely made trades,
but remember,
and he had a perfect draft.
But again, that's in a draft that where everybody was, in this case,
every year is the same thing.
He's a total disadvantage because
every year is the same thing. There's always going to be people. There's always going to be players that you get later on that are going to be gold. Those are the guys that are going to win you your season. It's not going to be the guys you get in the beginning.
Pedro, yeah, I get it. There's gonna be players that are gonna be dark horses. There's gonna be Tyrone Tracy's of the world that are gonna come out late in the season. But what we're saying is this, bro. What you have right now is not a team that is playoff bound, bro. I see Aaron Jones, bro, and I kid you not. I'm not saying it because it's you, but I think he's gonna lose his starting role, bro. I think that Mason is gonna be the guy there, bro.
Then I pick. If I see that happening before the season starts, then I end up getting David Montgomery, which is the number 2 running back in like one of the best offenses in all of football, and that pretty much carried me for a couple of weeks, anyways.
That depth is important, bro. You need to have depth, but I think the star player. Look at the two teams that made the finals. Ralphie had Bijan Robinson, which is superstar running back. I was carried by Jamar Chase, Josh Allen, and Devon Achane. You need to have stars, and that's what takes you to the finals. If we even go to the semifinals team, Alex had Malik Neighbors, Saquon Barkley. Those are the guys that carried him to the finals.
No, because he hit. Because this is the difference. You hit on those players in the first round.
You hit on those guys. Exactly.
You have to hit on the guys in the first round, because if not, there's no point. You're not gonna, unless you do really well in the back half of the draft. You're not gonna make the playoffs unless you do some crazy stuff.
In a 12-man league, things will be very difficult. I don't think they'll be able to do the same thing that Jonathan did, with wire pickups. He won't be this. You can't do it in the 12-man.
And then the other thing to note is that in a 10-man league, you can fall 0-4 and wait for a player to earn a starting role, like with Tyrone Tracy. You earn a starting role later in the season, and you can afford to be down in a 10-man league. But in a 12-man league, you can't wait for a player to get a starting role. You can say this player is going to be good. I'll wait for him. I'll keep him. But in a 12-man league, if you fall early, it's going to be hard to climb back up, bro.
Yeah, it's fine, bro. Listen, I don't expect to see myself in the bottom of the barrel. There are going to, obviously, look, there are teams that have, just like, look, the two brothers, Alex and Nick. They already, off the bat, are going to have better keepers than a lot of people that have teams. Like, for instance, you have Jonathan, you have me, you have Steven. Automatically, they are going to have better keepers because they could pick whatever it is that they want to do. They want to keep the guys late, or they want to keep the guys in the beginning. They could do whatever it is that they want to do depending on what's available. And then if for some reason Cookie doesn't come back, there are 3 guys that can do that. Obviously, those are things that I did.
Or Cookie's team, bro, so you can reunite with Josh Jacobs.
Nah.
I don't know if he drops him. We'll figure it out.
But no,
we're heading to the 1 hour and a half mark. Great podcast. We broke down. I'll later on release it. Franklin, good to have you. We're getting that feel back to football. 100 days to go.
I can't wait.
Franklin, the draft is when? August 29th.
I believe so. Yeah.
In a Buffalo Wild Wings, I think in Dolphin Mall. Pedro.
Pedro.
That's fine. Is it gonna be Dolphin Mall? No, it's not gonna be Buffalo
It depends.
Wild
If the
Wings.
Buffalo Wild Wings is still standing in Color Bay, then we'll go in Color Bay. But if it's the one, if it's not, then we're gonna have to go to Dolphin Mall, bro.
Yeah.
Just make sure you come with your clown shoes, bro. The clown shoes, the clown nose, the clown makeup, the whole shebang, Pedro. Do not.
I already have somebody making who's gonna do the makeup. I'm already everything's gonna be good. I will be stripped to the bone.
I will say
Muscles are
this.
gonna be there.
I will say this. He's been hitting the gym purposely because of the clown. He's been saying it. I am going to be the difference. So
I got
it's in his head.
What is it? 2.5 months, 3 months?
Wow.
Yeah, I got 3 months.
Wow.
I will be so scared, man. Right now, I will be getting so nervous, bro.
Pedro, listen, bro. Right now, look, I've said this description before we cut it off. I would like to say this is the last thing. I've said this before in the podcast. Right now, it's all fun and games. And you're thinking about it because we're still 100 days away from kickoff. We're still a couple months away. But as it draws closer, Pedro, it's going to start creeping in like, holy crap, I am going to have to go dress as a clown. There's nothing cool. There's nothing sexy about a clown. And brother, let me tell you, your heart is going to start beating. Panic is going to start setting in. Anxiety up the yin yang once you get from your house to the car. You're already going to have neighbors looking at you, Pedro. People are going to be looking through the windows and be like, what the heck is going on? Is that Pedro Gonzalez, the AT&T guy? And then you get on your car, you're going to go as fast as you can in your car, bro. Every light you stop at, Pedro, man, you're just going to get stares, dude. But the biggest moment will be as soon as you go into the parking lot, you open that door and you start walking out. And as you're approaching the Buffalo Wild Wings, your heartbeat is going to be like 180, bro. And you're going to be like sweating, bro. Hey, try not to sweat because then that's going to be even more embarrassing because the makeup is just going to start like, you know. And then the minute you go in there, everybody's just going to look. Bro, you're going to have people just literally like going like this with their phones, recording.
There's a clown in Buffalo Wild Wings.
And you're going to be like, hey, I'm looking for the table with a drop. And the servant, poor servant, whoever that is going to be like, what the hell is happening? And then you're going to go. And then, bro, the most funniest part is you ordering a beer. And you're going to need it. You're going to need a pitcher of beer, bro. Because it's going to be tough, bro. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, bro. But, hey, man, you're a man for doing it, bro. You're a man for doing it.
Yeah.
It's all good, gentlemen. I expect to be nice and I'm going to look great, guys. Don't worry. I'm going to start sending you update pictures of me working out, me getting in shape. You're going to see how the body progresses. And then if Franklin, if you like, I will start sending the videos of me getting on the scale in the morning and getting lower and lower and lower and lower to 165 years. Don't forget, if I get to 165, you and me are boxing, my friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The venue will be at Alfredo's house. He's gonna have the area already set for the boxing matchup of the century.
I got a couple jabs I've been practicing on. So
really?
I've been practicing at that jab, bro. I'm gonna pretend like you have the clown nose on, and I'm gonna go straight for your nose, bro. So I'm gonna honk that nose. But gentlemen, thank you for having me in your podcast. I really appreciate it. Man.
No problem, bro. I know tomorrow you're probably gonna have a reaction with Steven tomorrow. I know Steven has a lot to say, so we'll be looking forward to hear you tomorrow with Steven, or hopefully in the next couple of days, bro.
Oh yeah, no. Football is approaching, gentlemen, and it's approaching fast. I can't wait, and I want to wish all of you guys the best of the 2025-2026 Guru season, and this was gonna be the most competitive season ever. I know we say it every year, but it's that every year it gets more and more competitive.
Yeah.
So,
All right, bro.
Everyone.
All right, bro. All right, guys. Pedro, thank you. Franklin, see you, bro.
All right, guys.
Bye.